welcome to The Know. I'm Ashley Jenkins, and all those fans who've been bitching about how Microsoft ruined Rare better be popping corks today, because a whole bunch of former Rare developers have formed a new studio to create spiritual successors to the games they made famous, like Banjo-Kazooie. Here are the facts. The group are calling themselves Platonic Games. The newly formed indie studio consists of 6 longtime Rare developers, including Chris Sutherland, Gavin Price, Steve Males, Stephen Hurst, Jens Restemeyer, and Mark Stevenson. The group describes its talents saying, "We've got the bloke who programmed Donkey Kong Country, the character designer behind Banjo and Kazooie, and the artist who made your console fit to burst with lavish environments across a decade's worth of adventure games." Also, a lot of them worked on Connect Sports and stuff, but let's not talk about that. The group is working on its first game as a studio, which they describe as a worthy spiritual successor to those fondly remembered platforming adventures we built in the past. A number of the core Banjo team have expressed interest in taking up the banner for several years now, and plenty of fans have too, but keep in mind this wouldn't be an actual sequel or clone, but something building on those foundations. The team that's now known as Platonic Games hinted on Twitter back in 2012 that they wanted to make a game that shares that same kind of humor, silly characters, fun gameplay, great tunes, and all that stuff that we enjoy making. It wouldn't be to try and recreate Banjo, it would be something new. The game is being called Project Ukulele for now, and they've shared a single teaser image. So here's the thing. Everyone gets after Microsoft for ruining Rare, right? I mean, Connect Sports, good game if you're into that kind of thing, and definitely gonna make money off the mainstream audience, but it's not exactly a Donkey Kong Country like classic, right? But is that Microsoft's fault? There are a lot of other developers that used to be synonymous with Nintendo that have kind of fizzled out after going elsewhere. Factor 5, you know, the guys behind Rogue Squadron, ended up making Lair for PS3 after they disconnected from Nintendo, and Eternal Darkness developer Silicon Knights went on to make Too Human, remember that one? And while there have been the Perfect Dark Zeros, Rare also made Viva Pinata, which should have been huge, and I still don't know why it wasn't. So maybe it's less Microsoft and more that rebellious phase all these studios went through after leaving Nintendo to show they'd grown up, except they kind of lost people. Either way, the big question now is whether these guys can recapture that original magic. And the sales. The original Banjo-Kazooie sold something like 3.5 million copies on Nintendo 64. Nuts and Bolts, which admittedly isn't a great comparison because it did change a lot of stuff, but it's the most recent game we have to go off of, sold about 1/5 of that. The big danger here is that, sure, plenty of people want this game to exist, but how many of them are actually going to put money towards it? A lot of these classic developers have turned to crowdfunding for their spiritual successors, like Cyan World did with Abduction, but those are just barely squeaking over the line, and their chances of success at retail are kind of slim. The market is definitely shifting to indie developers for this kind of game, so hey, at least these guys seem to be on the right track for that one. Would you pay actual, real hard money to support a Banjo-Kazooie spiritual successor, or are you happy to let it live in the past? Let us know in the comments. You get the biggest news in video games right here, so make sure you like this video and subscribe to this channel, and we'll keep you in the know.